The story begins with Su Mo, an ordinary high school student, preparing for an important exam tomorrow that will determine his future. After school, the school is filled with movement as students disperse, laugh, discuss their studies and rush home. Xiaoxi approaches Su Mo, her voice calm and friendly as she wishes him good luck in the exam. She is the best student in school, smart and successful, while Su Mo is just a guy with mediocre grades. He waves goodbye to her, gets on his bike and rides away, immersed in his thoughts about tomorrow. Su Mo rolls her bicycle, machine correcting her hair as she hears the conversation behind her and involuntarily listens. The two female students discuss him and Xiaoxi, perplexed as to how such a talented girl could be interested in him. He rides down the road, pedaling faster, but the thoughts keep him going, he doesn't realize it himself. The sunset sky stretches above him, but only one question resounds in his mind: why did she choose him? Lying in bed, he stares at the ceiling, realizing that there is a chasm between them. They are from different worlds. Su Mo lies looking at the ceiling with one question running through his mind: is he worthy of Xiaoxi? Suddenly a strange screen flashes before my eyes, and a mysterious voice tells me that the system has been activated. An unknown force envelopes him, mysterious symbols appear in the air, and he stares at it in amazement. A sharp pain pierces his head and he grasps at it, trying to figure out what's going on, but there are no answers. The bright light blinds him, forcing him to cover himself with his hand while the strange changes continue. A strange little girl appears in front of Su Mo, happily announcing that the system activation was successful. He is stunned, with questions swirling in his head and his heart pounding with surprise and incomprehension. Instinctively, he grabs the ruler, holding it out in front of him, trying to defend himself against the mysterious creature. The girl indignantly declares that the system is not just a thing, but a complex high-tech development. However, in order to become her true master, Su Mo must pass a test and prove his suitability. A little girl announces to Su Mo his first assignment: to be among the top 10 students in the class. He's flabbergasted, indignantly stating that he'd rather be in the top 10 worst than the best. But the system reminds him that he himself dreams of succeeding, and now he has a chance. Su Mo is in a panic. If he doesn't complete the task, the system will simply disappear, leaving him no choice. However, the girl confidently states that she does not give impossible tasks, but only leads him to his dreams. The girl smiles enigmatically as she says goodbye to Su Mo, leaving him alone with the system. He gingerly pulls his hand forward, and a glowing screen with mysterious data appears in front of him. The title on the screen popped up: Strongest Scholar System, and Su Mo's heart began to beat faster. He reads the description, trying to realize what's in front of him, and can't believe his eyes. His first skill is unforgettable, the ability to memorize everything without exception, and it seems incredible. Su Mo resolutely sits down at her desk, opens her textbooks and decides to test her new ability. But suddenly he remembers the system's words: if he doesn't complete the task, it will disappear forever. The realization strikes him: now he has no turning back, he must succeed. He quickly turns the pages and all the formulas and texts he has read are instantly imprinted in his mind. The next morning he leaves the house listening to music, but now his life will never be the same. Su Mo lies staring at the ceiling, realizing that he had endured a lifetime of ridicule and could not change anything. But now he has a chance, and he exclaims that he won't let fate stay the same. He opens the book, reads just a couple of pages, and realizes he has memorized them instantly. The system analyzes his speed: 8 pages per minute, almost 500 in an hour, an incredible result. If he keeps this up, he can not just improve his scores, but get the most he can. Su Mo ponders. The best student in the class scored around 650 points, and he needs at least 600 to enter the top 10. He resolutely sits down at his desk at 8 p.m., determined to master as much material as possible. At 11 p.m., his father reminds him to sleep, but Su Mo only asks for some time, not wanting to stop. At 3 o'clock in the morning, he's still awake, hiding under the covers while his eyes greedily run through the pages. The system girl reappears, warning that many seemed as if they were doing well, but they ended up failing. System girl explains that even the most powerful ability is useless to the lazy, and only those who are willing to work hard succeed. In class, Su Mo feels slightly tired after a sleepless night, but realizes that his efforts were not in vain. He rejoices, for all the questions he taught are clearly imprinted in his memory and remain there. Xiaoxi wonders if he is confident before the exam, and he answers in the affirmative without hesitation. With a smile, Su Mo says that he will definitely be among the top students in the class this time. Xiaoxi observes Su Mo and notices that something has changed in him, though she can't figure out what it is. One of the students grinningly shows him a gesture of approval, but you can read the distrust in his gaze. Su Mo laughs, recognizing that his words might sound like bragging, but he is genuinely confident. Xiaoxi smiles and says that she believes him, not doubting his determination and capabilities. Before leaving for the exam hall, she offers to have lunch together after the test, leaving Su Mo pensive. Su Mo acts calm and confident, but his gesture of saying goodbye looks a little defiant. Two students mock someone, loudly discussing how embarrassing it is to be fat and ridiculous to act cocky. He turns off the music and notices that the whispering behind him doesn't stop, drawing his attention again. Su Mo clenches his fist, his gaze becoming serious, but he chooses not to react to the words of those around him. In class, he calmly responds to someone's challenge by suggesting that they just look at the exam results. Su Mo walks into the auditorium and notices that almost no one here is taking the exam seriously. When he receives the task sheet, he looks at it with surprise, realizing that these questions are familiar to him. Running his eyes over the lines, he realizes he saw them last night while studying. Each task repeats the original textbooks, only the numbers change, but the essence remains the same. He's amazed, everything he's been learning has been incredibly useful, and now he has no margin for error. Su Mo confidently writes the exam, pondering that there is no need to talk about 600 points, because he is capable of more. The teacher notices his speed and is perplexed as to how he gets through the questions so quickly. She moves closer, deciding to check to see if he is indeed filling out the answers correctly. But when she sees his work, she freezes in amazement, her look betrays genuine surprise. 4 days later, during lunch, one of the students is indignant. Why are the honors students sitting next to Su Mo again? One of the students mockingly asks if Su Mo is the one who bragged so loudly before the exam. Su Mo calmly replies that it's all just envy, because his success and Xiaoxi's attention annoys many people. At that moment, the door swings open and a teacher enters the classroom holding an impressive stack of papers. With a clatter, she places the papers on the table, drawing the attention of the entire class. With a cold smile, she informs me that the test was just a test of basic knowledge and there was nothing complicated about it. The teacher is disappointed to report that the exam results were worse than she expected. She warns students that without a serious attitude toward learning, many will have a hard time getting into college. The announcement of the results begins. One of the students received 357 points, being almost at the bottom of the list. The other scored 513 points, ranking 26th in the class and 44th overall. When it is announced that Han Jiang scored 653 points and came second, he is surprised to ask if it's true. The students are puzzled. If Han Jiang came second, then who came first? Everyone's gazes are fixed on Su Mo, who is the only one who shows no interest in the results. The teacher announces his name with a slight smile, confirming that he is the one who won first place. Su Mo scored 702 points to top the class and finish second overall. Meanwhile, a sign hangs on the school office door, hinting that he will soon be called there. The teacher's lounge discusses the shocking news. A third-grade student came in second place in school. One of the teachers is puzzled because Su Mo has always been an outsider, and now he is suddenly on top. Another sharply states that this is impossible without cheating, because such results are simply unrealistic. But a colleague objects, reminding that you can't even cheat without knowledge, you need to understand what to look for. The teacher sums it up, without a clear understanding of the subject, even cheat sheets won't help, which means Su Mo has really changed. Teachers continue to argue as they try to figure out if Su Mo was really studying so hard. Someone slams the table with force, causing everyone to shut up and pay attention to the problem. Somewhere in the back of the school, someone squints their eyes as if making a final decision. This man is adamant that he doesn't want to hear any more arguments, it's time to act. He announces that each teacher should prepare a new set of exam papers. The head teacher announces with a stern look on his face that all students will be given a surprise retake test tomorrow. The next morning, school looks normal, but you can feel the tension in the air before a new challenge. In the classroom, students are gathered at their desks, some are worried and some continue to act nonchalant. Su Mo flips through the textbook and notices that his unforgettable ability is starting to weaken. But he remains calm, for even without her he now has knowledge and confidence. Su Mo stretched at his desk, happy that he had managed to memorize everything he needed to and his memory had gotten better. The teacher unexpectedly summons him, offering to go with her to the teacher's lounge, much to the surprise of the entire class. He is perplexed as to why he is called there, but stands up, realizing there can be no refusal. The students are whispering, speculating that perhaps he has been caught cheating and a scandal is about to break out. Entering the office, Su Mo quietly greets the gathered teachers, preparing to talk. Head teacher looks at Su Mo and gets straight to the point without wasting time on unnecessary talk. He explains that some faculty members doubt his results and find them too suspect. However, other teachers are confident in his abilities, so he will be given a chance to confirm his knowledge. Sumo is surprised and asks if he's really the only one being forced to retake the test. One of the teachers discreetly replies that it is not a matter of mistrust, but of the need to dispel all doubts. One of the teachers puts his hand on Sumo's shoulder, saying that retaking the test is a chance to prove his honesty. Sumo chuckles and remarks that it sounds too polite to be accused of cheating. He is not afraid of the challenge because the knowledge is already in his head and he is confident in his abilities. Upon receiving the new version of the test, he dramatically puts his hands on the table, ready to prove his point. But the teacher warns with a chuckle that the assignments are brand new, and it's impossible to write them off. Sumo tensed up, realizing that if he failed the test, he would be unfairly accused of cheating. Suddenly, the system girl appears in front of him, cheerfully greeting him and asking if he missed her. At this moment, the teacher is surprised to notice that Sumo seems to be hovering over the assignments as if scared. But Sumo doesn't doubt himself, he resolutely clenched his fist, ready to prove his point. Gladly, he announces that he can now receive his reward, for the exam was just another test for him. The teacher irritably cautions Sumo, demanding that he not try to cheat during the test. But Sumo doesn't pay attention, writing intently, his hands sliding quickly across the paper. The teacher watches him, still hesitant, for in the past this student had always looked for workarounds. Only half an hour passes, and Sumo clutches the sheet in his hand, confident that he has finished the task. He stands up and announces with a smile that he has completed chemistry, surprising everyone present. The teacher takes Sumo's sheet, unfolding it with obvious interest to check the answers. Sumo calmly takes the next test, confidently declaring that he has completed the math. All the teachers watch the test curiously, waiting for the result with tense faces. One of them asks how he did, and the teacher freezes for a moment, looking over the answers. She admits she didn't write this test and doesn't know chemistry, but all of his answers are probably correct. The teacher scrutinizes Sumo's answers and recognizes that they are logical and there are no mistakes. She declares that she has the perfect job in front of her, leaving no room for doubt about his knowledge. One of the teachers is annoyed. If he had seen this result in advance, it would have been even more difficult. Another smiles slyly and assures me that there's a trap in the latest physics test that can break anyone. Sumo irritably remarks that he hears their conspiracy too loudly, but remains confident. Sumo announces with a smile that he has finished the job and emphasizes that it took him less than 30 minutes. One of the teachers hesitantly accepts the sheet, surprised to see the test turned in so quickly. Another incredulously notes that even complex issues have been resolved in record time. Teachers are beginning to realize that they were too caught up in his knowledge and failed to notice his incredible speed. One of them squints suspiciously, wondering if perhaps Sumo had intentionally lowered his grades in the past. One of the teachers exclaims irritably, demanding an explanation, for this is not a game, but a serious exam. Sumo remains calm, shrugs his shoulders and replies with a smile that it's just a game to him. Another teacher, not holding back emotion, rushes to him asking if he solved the last difficult example by himself. Sumo nonchalantly reminds them that he completed the entire task right in front of their eyes, so there can be no doubt. The teacher, who had been hesitant earlier, embarrassingly excuses himself, explaining that he was simply too surprised by his result. One of the teachers enthusiastically declares that Sumo is a rare genius, and his withdrawal from the physics Olympiad will be a great loss. He asks if Sumo wants to try his hand at it, since it will bring extra points for admission. Sumo calmly replies that of course participating will give a lot of bonus points, but doesn't show any enthusiasm. The teacher notes with admiration that the second place in the ranking already gives a chance to enter any university. But Sumo just shrugs his shoulders and says that he is not interested in participating in the Olympics and sees no benefit in it. Sumo calmly states that if there are no more questions, he is leaving. Without looking back, he heads for the exit, leaving the teachers in complete silence. Everyone present stares after him, not knowing how to react to his confidence. In the corridor, Sumo touches his head thoughtfully, reflecting on what happened. He realizes that without the system's new reward, this challenge would be much harder to handle. 3 hours ago, Sumo had enthusiastically demanded for the system to draw a reward for a completed task. The girl system happily activated the process, and a digital ring with mysterious power appeared in front of him. He felt a strange change in himself. His vision sharpened and his perception became clearer. Complex formulas flashed before my eyes and my consciousness seemed to brighten, triggering a new level of thinking. After returning to reality, Sumo looked at the test and realized that the questions now seemed quite simple to him. Xiaoxi happily waved her hands when she saw Sumo in the hallway, catching his attention. He greets her and asks with slight surprise what she is doing on the 6th floor. She turns to the window and calmly explains that she heard about his summons to the teachers. She looks at him carefully, worriedly asking if everything is okay after the conversation. Mo slightly averts his gaze and carelessly replies that he was only retaking the exam. Mo looks at Shi and asks with slight uncertainty if she believes in his rapid progress. He stretches his arms tentatively, as if waiting for her reaction, and there's hope in his eyes. Shi smiles softly, puts her hands on his face and confidently says that she believes him even if no one in the school does. She admits that his success seems unbelievable, but knows that Mo would never cheat her. Mo is stunned by her words, a flicker of surprise in his gaze, and he quietly interrogates if it's really true. Mo and Shi stand opposite each other, their gazes full of determination and hope. Shi extends his hand and warmly says that if he keeps such grades, they can enter the same university. Mo, hearing her words, takes a step forward, about to say something important. But before he can speak, his attention is caught by someone's voice from the hallway. The teacher asks suspiciously, if he is so strong, why he is avoiding the competition. The teacher stares intently at Mo, expressing dissatisfaction and doubts about his actions. He then loudly accuses him of inappropriate behavior at school, demanding an explanation. Mo, stunned by this pressure, tries to justify himself, but the teacher continues to insist. He chides him for a possible romantic relationship, reminding him that his studies should come first. Mo calmly asks a question about his place in the rankings, and upon receiving the answer, reminds him with a smirk that he is second. The teacher says with a stern expression that Shi is ranked first in the school. Mo, smiling, clarifies, does it not turn out that he, by coming in second place, is interfering with the best student? The teacher is stunned by his words, and Shi covers his face in embarrassment, clearly not expecting such a turn. Suddenly, the teacher loses patience and loudly demands Mo not to talk nonsense. He then suspiciously reminds us that his second seat has yet to be officially confirmed. Mo calmly states that the retake was approved by the dean and asks if the teacher is accusing him of cheating. The teacher, clutching the folder in his hand, irritably says that if he didn't cheat, let him prove it in the competition. Shi looks at the teacher resolutely and asks them to respect them as students. She then adds indignantly that it's not worth it to insult them over and over again. Suddenly, Mo feels Shi gently place her hand on his shoulder while saying his name. Mo says with a slight smile that teacher Luo's demand cannot be called unreasonable. Walking down the hallway, he calmly adds that, given all that has been said, he has a counteroffer. Stopping next to Shi, he clarifies that the teacher still wants him to participate in the physics competition. Looks at the teacher directly and offers to make a wager, emphasizing that he is not refusing to participate. His condition sounds bold. If he gets first place, he wants the teacher to throw a banquet for them. The teacher, realizing the amount of money that will have to be spent on the banquet, looks shocked as he calculates the expenses. He looks at Mo carefully, pondering how he suddenly became so confident. Meanwhile, Mo reminds him with a smile that his teacher doubted him all along, but now he's afraid to argue. The teacher finally chuckles, recognizing that the guy is clearly aiming for his wallet, but it amuses him. Easily agrees to the wager, claiming that if a good meal can create a hero, he's fine with it. Mo and the teacher make a bet while shaking hands, as if finally sealing their agreement. The physics exam is over, and now in the rain the students disperse, leaving the building behind. There is a quiet atmosphere on the bus taking the participants away. Someone is reading, someone is just sitting waiting. One teacher skeptically remarks that we should not expect outstanding results from these students. She admits that competition has never been their school's strong suit, so there is little hope. One of the teachers reflects that the school doesn't care too much about the competition since she was sent to lead the team. She clenched her fist, realizing that despite 7 years of experience, she had given way to another teacher. It's raining outside, but that doesn't stop her from firmly declaring that her students will be better than those taught by Lu Yu. A large group of people have gathered in the teacher's office, with only 2 students standing out among them. Mo whispers in surprise that she doesn't understand why only she and Shi are here and the rest are teachers. Shi excitedly suggests that they may have already announced the results of the competition. The older man takes a closer look at the gathered crowd and checks to see if everyone is present. Nearby, 2 teachers are discussing that when everyone is gathered, they can talk to the principal. One of the teachers angrily asks if 2 students think their grades give them the right to ignore the teachers. The other woman is surprised to learn that Mo is really a 3rd grade student. Mo is perplexed as to why he is being accused of disrespecting teachers and wants to understand the meaning behind Mrs. Lee's words. One of the teachers dramatically states that students are not allowed to fall in love, and the fact that they are holding hands confirms the violation. A woman with a cold stare wryly asks if the students really think all the teachers here are fools. A group of teachers with tense facial expressions discuss whether the conflict is really related to Luyu or if there is another reason. Xiao Mo, looking straight in front of him, realizes that they are trying to use him as a convenient excuse. Xiao Mo, holding Xiaoxi's hand, calmly states that they didn't break any rules. The principal, relaxedly sipping his tea, seems unfazed, not interfering with what's going on. Xiao Mo claims that the director was aware of everything and even gave his consent. However, the director himself is confused, not realizing exactly when he approved it. Xiao Mo casually reminds them that the principal promised them recognition if they placed in the top 3. Xiao Mo is adamant that she will not allow herself to be used to attack the teacher. Other faculty members begin to discuss the situation, and one of them confirms that he witnessed it too. He turns to the principal asking if it's really as they say. The director, suddenly remembering the details, agrees that this is exactly what happened. Xiao Mo suggests with a confident smile that the results of the competition have come in. Xiao Mo looks at the teachers confidently, noting that even the principal and vice principal are now against him. One of the teachers tries to object, but the principal interrupts him, showing that other things are more important now. The principal turns to Mrs. Li, asking her not to be distracted, for he has an important announcement to make. She reluctantly agrees, realizing it's pointless to argue further. The principal is proud to announce that their school took 2 first places in the physics competition. The teachers announce the winners of the competition, announcing that Xiao Mo from 3rd grade won first place. Second place goes to Xiaoxi from 1st grade, and both students look pleased. The principal cheerfully calls everyone to applaud the winners and congratulate them on their success. Teachers and students join in the congratulations, creating a solemn atmosphere in the room. One of the teachers repeats aloud in shock that a student from the 3rd grade has won first place. Xiao Mo chats with Xiaoxi with a smile, while one of the teachers is surprised to notice that she has never heard of him before. In her mind, the other teacher irritably realizes that if she were a 3rd grade teacher, she would be accepting congratulations right now. She looks at her colleague with envy, amazed at her luck and the fact that the winner was her student. A group of teachers and students head to a conference room where, by the looks of it, some important discussion is about to take place. One of the teachers approaches Xiao Mo, and the teacher, a little surprised, asks what he can do for him. The teacher declares with a satisfied look on his face that he is fully prepared and has already gotten the money. He enthusiastically suggests that Xiao Mo invite his classmates to join them at lunchtime. Xiao Mo, surprised by this turn, hesitantly asks if he is really serious about this. After all, he was only joking. The teacher, remaining calm, replies that he has made a bet and intends to keep his word. He gives Xiao Mo a friendly hug on his shoulder and breaks out into loud, infectious laughter. The teacher gives Xiao Mo a friendly pat on the shoulder, and he notes with slight surprise that teachers don't always try to make life difficult for their students. Another teacher, talking to a colleague, says that some teachers can be overly strict and demanding of students. In a classroom full of frustration, the teacher loudly questions how so many students could make a mistake on such a simple question. With irritation in his voice, he unfolds the score sheet and advises the students to take Xiao Mo from the 3rd grade as an example. The students sitting at the desks look at each other as the teacher continues to indignantly explain that Xiao Mo was able to achieve a perfect result in just a month. Xiao Mo, lightly leaning on his hand, smilingly reflects that the teachers are only concerned about their students' performance. The teacher, irritatedly waving the results sheet, points at the student, stating that she was able to enter the competition after the regular exams and came in 2nd place. The atmosphere in the other classroom is cheerful, with students laughing and discussing that they too have great teachers. Meanwhile, the teacher, clenching her fists, exclaims, "Is she a bad teacher if her students are not getting the same results?" With fury, she points at the class and declares that the problem is not her at all, but that none of them work as hard as Xiao Mo. The students in the classroom chattered, puzzled that Xiao Mo's name had already been heard dozens of times in one lesson. Another student, sitting lazily by the window, repeats the name puzzledly, as if trying to remember who it's about. Someone's cold gaze is directed forward, and a voice indifferently inquires who this Xiao Mo is. In another space, a miniature figure cheerfully explains that the reward for a mission accomplished is the ability to understand. Xiao Mo, enveloped by the magical radiance, realizes that his mind will now become sharper and his thinking will become fast like a bubbling spring. Xiao Mo looks at the task sheet in surprise, realizing that everything seems clear now. He admiringly observes that matters that were once inscrutable are now understood as if they were simple truths. After school, warm light floods the academic building as students disperse to go about their business. From that point on, he easily engages in the learning process, interacting confidently with his classmates. Xiao Mo realizes that now he doesn't encounter any task that he finds difficult. One of his classmates calls out to Xiao Mo in surprise, asking why he is leaving alone. Another student wonders why he doesn't go home after class, as if something is bothering him. The boys are reminded that a basketball game with Class 1 is scheduled after school and his participation is important. One of his friends anxiously declares that the match won't work without him, as he is the best player on the team. Xiao Mo agrees with a smile, jokingly turning to his comrade and letting him know that he's staying to play. Xiao Mo excitedly raises his hand, urging his friend to go to the court and win the match. A game is already underway on the basketball court, with several teams involved in the competition and spectators watching. The players' footsteps sound confident as they enter the court, catching the attention of everyone in attendance. The comrades cheerfully greet Xiao Mo and his friend, happy that they have finally arrived at the game. One of the opponents looks at them defiantly, derisively calling Class 3 trash, and asking if they are ready to admit defeat. The opposing team comes onto the court with confidence, showing their readiness for the game and their intent to win. Xiao Mo calmly responds with a sneer, reminding him that they are here to play basketball, not talk. One of the players takes the ball and announces the rules with a smirk: whoever scores 50 points first wins. The game begins, tension rises, the opponents instantly go on the active offense. One player quickly leads the ball forward, while his teammates are already preparing to attack. The opponent cleverly breaks away from the defense, jumps up and confidently drives the ball to the basket. With a smirk on his face, he proudly announces the score, 2-0 in their favor. One player resents the surprise attack, accusing his opponents of foul play. The team notices that Xiao Mo is pensive and tries to figure out what's bothering him. He only smiles slightly and waves it off, saying it's okay. Xiao Mo watches the game and suddenly feels the same inspiration that he feels when solving problems. His thoughts are centered on one question: what is the secret to a successful breakthrough? It analyzes the player's movements, trying to figure out which elements can be improved. Suddenly a clear picture formed in his mind. He understood the principle. He wonders if the abilities given by the system can be applied to basketball. One of the players confidently leads the ball, bypassing the defenders, but suddenly loses it under pressure from the opponent. Another player observes with derision that the opposing team isn't that good, suggesting that we leave them with a 0 score. Xiao Mo carefully watches his opponent's movement, anticipating his next move and preparing to retaliate. He quickly intercepts the ball, rushing off on the counterattack, forcing defenders to rush after him. At a crucial moment, his foot collides with his opponent's foot, creating a tense situation on the field. Xiao Mo leaps into the air, deftly releasing the ball as defenders try to thwart him. The ball flies smoothly into the basket, causing astonishment among the players, one of whom is amazed to notice the similarity to Zhang Daoi's shot. One of his teammates admiringly asks if Xiao Mo is a wizard since he was able to repeat the move after seeing it just once. The opponents chatter in confusion, realizing that their defenses are not handling the attack. The leader of the other team angrily accuses his players of carelessness, demanding that they cover Xiao Mo better. One of the players indignantly defends his team, but is immediately reminded that Xiao Mo just outsmarted them. Another player urges him not to relax as the match is just beginning, but Xiao Mo cleverly takes the ball away from him. Xiao Mo looks at his opponents confidently, letting them know that they haven't realized yet, the game is already over. Xiao Mo's team stands behind him, ready for one last push as he resolutely sets up for the final moment. There is chaos on the court, with some players already on the ground and the leader of the losing team furious trying to realize defeat. Xiao Mo stands with ball in hand, looking at the defeated score of 47-2, and ponders whether he has overreacted. The realization of complete superiority gives him mixed feelings, because his opponents can't even fight back. He decides to test his abilities and wonders how far he can throw the ball. Analyzing the wind direction, he concludes that the conditions are perfect for an accurate throw. One of the opponents watches his movement with bewilderment, not understanding what Xiao Mo is going to do. One of the players is startled to notice Xiao Mo throwing the ball from a few feet away from the three-point line. Xiao Mo makes a throw and the observers are stunned. Such a blow should be impossible. The ball flies on a perfect trajectory, shining against a cloudless sky. The audience exclaims with widened eyes, realizing that this throw has a 100% chance of hitting the target. From up high, you can see the entire venue come to a standstill, waiting for the denouement of this incredible moment. The player on the ground acknowledges his opponent's level with defeat, realizing how large the skill gap is. Xiao Mo, carelessly throwing a towel over his shoulder, notes that playing the entire game with such opponents is just a waste of time. He suggests that one of the players play together next time, giving him a chance to experience the game at a new level. The next day, the defeated player is angry, accusing Xiao Mo of making him completely lose his desire to play. Meanwhile, a group of people are cheering, enthusiastically discussing the match that took place and clearly marveling at what they saw. A crowd of students watch the game with rapt attention, cheering after another accurate shot at the ring. One of the guys admiringly notes that Zhao plays incredibly powerfully, like a true basketball god. Another player is surprised by Zhang's appearance and offers to join the game, but Zhang only waves him off. Zhang grimly states that he is in no mood to play, looking depressed and unsure. The rumor of a 50-0 defeat spreads quickly, and one of the players is puzzled to find out if it's true. One of the players puzzledly recalls hearing Xiao Mo's name before, but can't remember the details. He checks with Zhao to see if he really knows the guy from senior class 3, hoping to get an explanation. Zhao is confused to realize that this was the name that was constantly coming up in the conversations of students and even entire classes. His irritation grows when he notices that even after class, everyone around him keeps talking about Xiao Mo. One of his teammates hands him the ball and urges Zhang to focus on the game instead of his thoughts. One of the players, standing at the fence, asks for more details about the past competition, clearly interested in the details. Later, Xiao Mo tells his friend to go first, and he himself stays behind to wait for Xiaoxi to arrive, watching intently. The ball flies through the air, and at this moment, Xiao Mo is completely concentrating, his gaze becoming intense, ready for action. Zhao, looking resolute, says Xiao Mo's name, realizing that the same player from senior class 3 is in front of him. A voice comes from the side, wondering if Xiao Mo is really a genius, and several people stare intently in his direction. Xiao Mo looks at the guy who appeared in front of him with a cold expression and demands an explanation. Zhao stands next to another player, while the third player proudly announces that the star defender of the school and the best player of Linhai City is in front of them. With a chuckle, Zhao states that he heard about Xiao Mo's intention to have a throwing competition and came here on purpose. Xiao Mo calmly looks at him and shrugs slightly, noticing that he has no desire to compete. Then, after making one last throw, he turns around and walks away with his friend, ignoring the challenge. Zhao throws the ball with fury, his face contorted with determination to prove his superiority. One of the guys standing nearby mockingly says that Xiao Mo is just a guy who is linked by rumors to the prettiest girl in school, and adds that he doesn't understand what she sees in him. The other player squints and notices that the girl might have strange taste since she likes someone like Xiao Mo. Someone steps heavily on the ground, as if preparing for action, and says briefly that this is a good thing. Meanwhile, Xiao Mo along with his friend, calmly walks out of the venue, leaving behind the guys watching him. Xiao Mo looks straight in front of him, his gaze becoming cold and his voice hard. He has been successfully provoked. A crowd of students begin to gather around, some anxiously asking what's going on. A voice is heard on the basketball court claiming that someone wants to challenge the god of the ball. Xiao Mo calmly folds his arms and looks at his opponent, demanding an explanation of what he is trying to accomplish. The ball guy chuckles and declares that after Xiao Mo is defeated, he should stop these jumps and also break off his relationship with Xiaoxi. Xiao Mo calmly looks at his opponent, listens to the terms and agrees. The winner must beat his opponent by 10 goals. The opponent smugly adds another condition: if Xiao Mo loses, he will become his younger brother. Xiao Mo stares back without a shadow of doubt, but his opponent chuckles and suggests that he try to win first. All around, the crowd begins to discuss how strong Zhao Junqi is. After all, he is the best high school scorer in the province. At that moment, Zhao effortlessly takes a powerful shot and the ball easily hits the basket. The crowd enthusiastically discusses Zhao Juanzi, calling him a ball god, and some girls admiringly remark how attractive he is. Zhao takes a shot and the ball confidently hits the basket, eliciting even more cheers from the audience. Someone admiringly remarks that his accuracy today is incredible, 10 hits out of 10, and suggests that Xiao Mo admit defeat so as not to embarrass himself. Zhao smiles confidently and glances at his opponent, encouraging him with a loud cheer. With those words, he abruptly sends the ball towards Xiao Mo, handing him the turn to throw. Xiao Mo clutched the ball tightly, his gaze focused, and his determination to show everything he was capable of boiling up inside. He takes a powerful leap and sends the ball flying with precision, aiming for a perfect hit. A look of amazement appears on the faces of those around them as the ball spins at an incredible speed, causing one of the players to be clearly bewildered. The crowd freezes, watching his movement, and then something unexpected happens. The ball, having hit the basket, itself comes back. Everyone who saw this shot is shocked. How is it possible that the ball not only went into the ring, but also bounced back out without a single mistake? One after another, the ball flies into the basket without missing once. Someone exclaims in amazement that this is the 5th in a row. Xiao Mo is standing still, not making any unnecessary movements, and has already thrown 9 balls. His observers are amazed, he doesn't even move his legs. One of the players looks at this with bewilderment and anxiety. He cannot believe what is happening and asks himself if Xiao Mo is human. The spectators compare him to another player, Zhao, who is just learning how to handle the ball. Xiao Mo seems to have it all much easier. In the silence, someone admiringly thinks that here he is the true god of basketball. Xiao Mo prepares for his final shot, holding the ball with confidence and focus. He only has one more to score to achieve a perfect score. Someone is tensely watching the game, his gaze full of doubt. He wonders if Xiao Mo can make 10 hits out of 10. In the crowd they notice a man coming in. Someone recognizes him and asks if he is Mr. Sun, who is in charge of the school basketball team. Xiao Mo notices this conversation and looks thoughtfully to the side as if pondering something important. He sadly reflects on his desire to just go to the same college as Shay and not get into trouble again like he did with the physics competition. Xiao Mo makes an incredible shot. 3 balls fly at the same time and accurately hit the basket. The spectators are shocked, they can't believe their eyes. Someone exclaims in amazement that it's really 3 goals at once. Xiao Mo smiles calmly and remarks that it looks like he and his opponent have a draw. Suddenly, someone informs him that the principal wants to see Xiao Mo and he needs to go to the office immediately. Xiao Mo, pensively observing the situation, is relieved that the man didn't seem to have noticed anything. One of the players exhales with relief, admitting that he was scared at first. He thought the opponent was really that strong. But his comrade warily notices that Xiao Mo purposely missed looking at Mr. Sun's coach before doing so. The one asks amazedly if Xiao Mo was trying to save his face in this way. Gradually one comes to realize, a person who can control himself like that really deserves respect. The delighted player loudly declares that Xiao Mo is like a brother to him from now on. Xiao Mo stands at the door of the teacher's office, wondering why he was called here since class is already over. Inside, he is greeted by his teacher, who notes with a smile that he has finally arrived and offers him a seat. When everyone is gathered, the teacher announces that it is time to start talking and the atmosphere becomes serious. He emphasizes that all present are the best students of the school, but every year even the smartest fail the entrance exams. The teacher reports that the school is setting up a special breakout group, parents have already been notified, and intensive training will begin after school. Xiao Mo sighs as he realizes that this is just a training group competition, and he seems to be unfazed. Sure happily notices his appearance, and Xiao Mo, seeing a familiar person, also perks up. He smiles and thinks that since Shay is here, things are getting more interesting now, even if it makes him sigh a little. One of the students admiringly says that Principal Zhang has trained 3 top students in the past, and this inspires confidence. The teacher points to the task sheet and explains that this is a typical question that includes key mistakes that can cause even strong students to fail. One student is concentrating on solving a problem, but suddenly gets hung up on one question, losing too much time and failing to finish the entire test. Another student realizes after the exam that he misunderstood the essence of the question, spent a long time writing the answer, but did not get a single mark. The teacher explains that such questions do not bring high or low scores, but because of them students spend too much time not knowing how to screen them out in time. Xiao Mo listens attentively, but seems to have already guessed where the conversation is going. He nonchalantly asks Principal Zhang if he can skip the training. After all, these tasks are not difficult for him and he will easily get a full score. One of the students annoyedly remarks that Xiao Mo is overconfident, but he is reminded that the tasks are not impossible, just time-consuming. Another student confidently states that Xiao Mo has handled similar challenges before. After all, he won first place in the last Olympiad. The girl calmly adds that these tasks are not particularly difficult for her either. Someone tries to convince her that the exam is different from the usual competition, but also recognizes her outstanding academic performance. She sharply objects, assuring him that if Xiao Mo said it was possible, then it is, he's never lied after all. The girl and the student stare fiercely at each other, the tension between them growing as if an argument is about to break out. The teacher intervenes, urging everyone to calm down. After all, they are here to practice, not to fight. He recalls Xiao Mo retaking the exam and then coping with the tasks quickly and without mistakes. He then suggests that Xiao Mo share his experience and give a small lesson to the others. Xiao Mo reacts in surprise, perplexed as to why he now has to give a lecture. The headmaster mentions the special relationship between Xiao Mo and Yan Shi with a serious expression, emphasizing that he and the headmaster were the first to notice it. Xiao Mo blushes embarrassedly, smiles awkwardly and thanks the principal, not knowing how to respond properly. The teacher reassures him, telling him that everyone here is reasonable and you can speak openly without being embarrassed. Xiao Mo grudgingly agrees, and after scratching the back of his head, he decides to try and explain his point of view after all. He confidently states that problem-solving speed is a skill that improves with practice, which means it can be accelerated in advance by using ready-made solution templates. Xiao Mo explains that this method is similar to macro programming. Pre-prepared solution templates greatly speed up the process. He gives an example of a complex genetic problem in which errors often arise due to uncertainty in the formulas. According to him, you can create multiple solutions, memorize certain combinations, and thus avoid unnecessary calculations on the exam. One of the students is doubtful, because memorizing so much information requires a tremendous amount of effort and may be useless if the task doesn't catch on. Xiao Mo calmly replies that it's just a trade-off, more cramming now for the sake of saving time in the exam, but it's not a problem for him because he doesn't forget anything. The teacher excitedly explains that if you reduce the time per question from 30 seconds to 3 seconds, the savings on 10 problems would be enormous. Xiao Mo suggests a way to understand the examiner's intentions is to simply make up your own test, causing others to wonder. He compares the exam to a game of chess, where there is a big difference between just getting into the top 4 and being the ultimate winner. Xiao Mo explains that for those who have already reached the limit of their abilities, digging further into complex tasks will not bring significant benefits. The two students look stunned, one of them asking in doubt if it's even possible to reach that level. The teacher acknowledges with a serious expression that Xiao Mo's words make sense, and although it's not necessary to copy everything, some ideas are worth trying. Xiao Mo finishes his explanation with a victorious smile, and the system reports that he has obtained a new skill, the Feynman learning method. A month passes, and students and teachers gather in the study hall, congratulating Xiao Mo for winning first place in the trial exam. Xiao Mo is happy with the result. He finished the test 10 minutes earlier in each subject and now feels more confident about the entrance exam. Another student adds enthusiastically that he has worked with teachers on assignments over the past 2 weeks and has finally realized how examiners insert interfering items into tests. Xiao Mo relaxedly leaned back in his chair and admitted with a smile that he wasn't sure if he could do the same thing again. He adds with a sly expression that without a system it will be impossible to reach his brother's level, no matter how hard they try. Yanshi leans over to him and asks him with slight concern if he's upset that she won first place in school. Xiao Mo looks at her calmly, pondering her words, but doesn't look upset. Yanshi smiles softly and assures that she is not angry at all, on the contrary, she is still happy. Xiao Mo looks at Yanshi worriedly and asks if she is hiding something from him. She is clearly confused, but tries to remain calm, replying that she is fine. Xiao Mo, leaning closer, earnestly says that if she really cares about his feelings, she can tell him the truth. The teacher awkwardly clears his throat, announcing that it's over for the day, and allows everyone to disperse. One of the disciples looks at Xiao Mo and Yanshi with a smirk and remarks that they should remember to lock the door when they leave. Xiao Mo looks at Yanshi with concern and asks her to tell her what happened. She hesitates, but with a heavy sigh, she admits that they might not be able to get into the same college. Xiao Mo is stunned by her words and anxiously asks what happened. Yanshi explains that yesterday her mother suddenly announced that she wants to send her to study abroad. She sadly adds that she had hoped to study with Xiao Mo when his grades improved, but things turned out differently. Yanshi stands by the window, looking pensively into the distance, while Xiao Mo quickly walks towards her, clearly determined. He confidently states that there is no need to worry, they will find a way out of this situation together. Later, they find themselves in a spacious, luxurious home, where they sit across from a grown woman, ready for a serious conversation. Xiao Mo is slightly embarrassed, addressing her cautiously, but she offers to call her auntie with a smile. The woman calmly clarifies that she is not a strict parent who would restrict their freedom to love. The woman says with a slight smile that she would never question her daughter's choice. Yanshi looks at her in surprise, faintly saying, "Mom." Her mother calmly takes a sip of tea and adds that while she won't interfere with their relationship, she has her own principles. She emphasizes that life must be built on reality, because feelings alone are not enough. With a slight sigh, she admits that like any mother, she just wants to give her daughter the best education possible. The woman gently asks Xiao Mo if he understands her desire to give her daughter a good education. Xiao Mo calmly and confidently replies that with his unique system, he doesn't need any university. He earnestly admits that it is not easy for anyone to explain the existence of such an amazing system of learning. The woman looks at both of them carefully and with a slight smile, she advises Yanshi to teach Xiao Mo how to behave properly first. Xiao Mo and Yanshi look at each other in embarrassment, confused by her unexpected words. Xiao Mo gently asks Yanshi to let him talk to her mother, clearly preparing for a serious conversation. He leans forward and respectfully says that he understands her feelings and concern for Yen Shi. He then asks what exactly she considers a good education, just a degree, a beautiful campus, or expensive labs. Xiao Mo clarifies with a smile, asking if the whole meaning of education to her is only reduced to these things. The woman calmly replies that there's no need to worry, as she doesn't have such superficial views. The woman asks Xiao Mo with a slight smile what he thinks a real education should be like. Xiao Mo energetically replies that the most important thing in the university is the people, their ideas and knowledge sharing. He confidently states that even in their country, one can get the best education if approached in the right way. The woman smiles thoughtfully, recognizing that his words had really hurt her and made her think. However, she adds that Xiao Mo is missing one important aspect of what it means to go to university. Xiao Mo confidently states that it is also possible to find outstanding mentors and get the best education in their country. Cards with images appear on the table in front of him, as if he were strategically laying out his argument. The woman admits with a smile that his words are indeed impressive, but notices that he forgets one important aspect of being a university student. Xiao Mo confidently raises the card as if revealing his trump card, ready for the next step in the conversation. The system reports that he has activated the Predict Opponent's Turn skill and received a rookie card, confirming his strategic approach. The woman echoes Xiao Mo's words with a smile, recalling that he himself had said that the most important thing in the university was the people. She lays her cards on the table, showing that her argument is also based on people, but in a different sense. With a slight smile, she states that the friends a person makes at university become their most valuable assets in the future. At this point, the system reports that the opponent has used a reality shock combination, destroying all supporter cards on the playing field. Xiao Mo grimly chuckles, recognizing the strength of this move, but also satisfied that he had anticipated it in advance. The woman lays a few more cards on the table, reinforcing her strategy and continuing her argument. Xiao Mo, after gathering his thoughts, recognizes that his words may seem inappropriate, but still decides to make his point. He explains that it's natural for influencers to make useful connections, and no one argues with that. Yen Shi listens to him carefully, and Xiao Mo adds that for some people, contacts at the university are indeed important, but not for everyone. With a slight smile, he confidently states that there is no need for him and Yen Shi to compromise for the sake of building the right connections. The woman wistfully says that because of her status, she is used to seeing people in front of her who don't even dare to breathe freely. With a slight smile, she admits that she hasn't met a young man as brave as Xiao Mo in a long time. Yen Shi stares at her in astonishment, unable to believe her eyes, for she had never seen her mother like this before. The woman laughs and remarks that Xiao Mo reminds her of herself in her youth, recalling her youth. Xiao Mo smiles contentedly, realizing that his words about the importance of people really hurt her, and feels that the situation is starting to turn in his favor. Xiao Mo reacts sharply, exclaiming that this is completely impossible. He tensely lowers his gaze, contemplating something serious, as if weighing all possible outcomes. Then he raises his head and addresses the woman in a firm voice, clearly preparing for an important statement. With a slight smile, he decisively offers her a wager, as if he is sure of his success. The woman raises her eyebrows in surprise and curiously asks if he really wants to place a bet. The woman worriedly reminds Xiao Mo that they are still students and doesn't want their studies to suffer because of an impulsive decision. Xiao Mo smiles confidently and declares that the bet won't affect his studies, because he's going to bet on his score in the entrance exam. He boldly adds that if he gets a perfect score, Yen Shi will stay to study in the country, and if he fails, let things be decided differently. The woman looks at him shocked, reminding him that getting 750 out of 750 is harder than going from 300 to 749, because no one has ever done it before. Xiao Mo froze for a moment, realizing what a huge challenge he had just issued to himself. Xiao Mo looks at Yen Shi seriously and admits that if he fails, he has no right to ask her to stay. Her mother sighs heavily, saying she was initially pleased with him, but didn't expect him to turn out to be so cocky. She promises to accept the terms of the bet, but warns that if he loses, she'll have to reconsider. Yen Shi anxiously exclaims, trying to object, but her mother has already made up her mind. With sudden irritation, the woman declares that she doesn't want to entrust her daughter to a man who so selfishly puts everything on the line. The woman sighs tiredly, folds her arms, and declares that the conversation is over because she is too tired. With slight irritation, she turns to her daughter and tells her to escort Xiao Mo to the exit. Yen Shi worriedly calls out to Xiao Mo, but he looks at her calmly as if he has already made up his mind. With a slight smile, he assures her that he will definitely convince her aunt to change her mind. Then, with a wave of his hand, he announces that it's getting late and it's time to go home. Xiao Mo slowly walks out of the house, reflecting on what happened and irritatedly admitting that he didn't expect to be in such a difficult situation. Gritting his teeth, he mentally curses the system, blaming it for letting him down and forcing him into this bet. The next morning, the sun is lighting up the school building and the Year 3 class is having another school day. The students are sitting at their desks, some reading intently, some dozing, but the atmosphere in the classroom remains calm. One of his classmates remarks with a chuckle that Xiao Mo has become overconfident, because after he got the first place in the trial exam, he even stopped studying. Xiao Mo calmly holds up the newspaper and replies with annoyance that he is just reading the news, not being arrogant. A classmate grudgingly demands he throw it away, insinuating that he should focus on his studies, not politics. Xiao Mo only chuckles and asks if he realizes that getting a perfect score is a top-level challenge. Later that night, sitting on his bed, he suddenly jumps up, stunned by a new realization, and a mysterious creature shimmers nearby. He irritably exclaims that the clue also lies in the essay, sarcastically congratulating the system on this discovery. A small creature with fire elements around it exclaimed indignantly, blaming Xiao Mo for yet another problem. Xiao Mo chuckles and waved her hand, reminding her that she has a name, so there's no need to shout. He asks irritably what this new expert exam is about, clearly not expecting such a workload. The creature crosses his arms grudgingly and asks if he can't take a hint and figure it out for himself. But immediately erupts with indignation and declares that she has explained everything to him before. Xiao Mo stares astonishedly in front of him, realizing that the system didn't give him impossible tasks. The creature in the air waves off the topic, turning the conversation to the award for the winning basketball game. Xiao Mo is ecstatic as a new skill appears in front of him that he clearly didn't expect. The light illuminates the inscription Master of Calligraphy, and he begins to guess why he was assigned such strange tasks. But then he raises his finger indignantly, asking if calligraphy will help him get a perfect score on the exam. Xiao Mo stares at her exam sheet in concentration, realizing that the key to a perfect score is in the essay. He contemplates breaking the usual rules and getting the examiner to give a top mark. He has a strategy in his head. He has to touch on social topics and evoke emotion in the reviewer. The bell rings and someone exclaims with relief that class is finally over. His classmate cheerfully puts his arm around his shoulders and offers to play basketball after school. Xiao Mo informs his friend that he is going to meet his mom today with Xiaoxi, causing him to look surprised. Against the backdrop of a sunset sky, they walk through the streets preparing for an important visit, filled with different thoughts. In front of the door of the house, Xiaoxi admits to being a little nervous, but Xiao Mo tries to calm her down. He confidently states that his mom is very kind and reminds him how well behaved he was when he met his aunt. When the door opens, a woman happily greets Xiao Mo, noticing that he has returned home. Xiao Mo introduces Xiaoxi's mom, adding that he has told her about her before. The woman looks at the girl carefully and notes to herself that she is very cute. She takes Xiaoxi's hand in a gesture of benevolence, showing her favor. With a smile, she says she's confident, her son is lucky to have such a caring classmate. Xiao Mo is puzzled, wondering why his mom is suddenly so friendly. At dinner, Xiao Mo, Xiaoxi and his mom are chatting quietly while enjoying the delicious food. In parting, the woman says with a smile that Xiaoxi will always be welcome here. Before leaving, she reminds her son to walk the girl to her car. Walking down the street, Xiaoxi confesses that she felt very cozy in this house. Xiao Mo suggests with a slight smile that she should come more often, and Xiaoxi resolutely replies that she'll try her best too. Xiaoxi laughs while squinting her eyes and curiously asks what Xiao Mo is up to. Xiao Mo confidently declares that getting a perfect score in the exam is nothing, and he will prove it. A few months pass, and then comes the day of an important exam. At the entrance to the educational institution, a girl blogger is reporting, energetically greeting the viewers. She smiles at the camera and informs us that today is the last day of entrance testing. A large crowd of parents had gathered in front of the entrance to the building, eagerly awaiting the end of the exam. The girl blogger continues to broadcast, delighted by the flood of enthusiastic comments from her viewers. She notices someone already leaving the exam room and switches the camera's focus. Xiao Mo and Xiaoxi, smiling, appear at the exit, looking satisfied after the completed ordeal. A blogger runs up to them, energetically asking if they are this year's participants. The blogger approaches the guys with a smile, wondering if there is a whole hour left before the end of the exam. Xiao Mo nonchalantly replies that he has already finished his work and just turned in the form early. The girl rounds her eyes, terrified that they might have violated discipline and been removed from the hall. Trying to pull herself together, she pretends it's normal and asks about the difficulty of the assignments. But suddenly an awkwardness overwhelms her, and she inwardly chastises herself for the stupid question. Xiao Mo confidently states that the exam wasn't that difficult, which makes the girl beside him smile. He wonders if a perfect score is possible, and the blogger, stunned by his self-assurance, echoes his words. The girl's eyes light up and she points the camera at Xiao Mo in excitement, clearly anticipating the sensation. Xiao Mo clarifies that he is not talking about a specific item, but about the perfect result as a whole. Meanwhile, in the chat room, he begins to be ridiculed by the audience, calling him a clown and not believing what he says. The girl with the camera thanks Xiao Mo for the answer, continuing to smile despite her surprise. She decides not to waste any more time on him and announces that she's going to go interview other exam takers. After talking to him, she looks puzzled and mentally wonders what kind of person she just met. The viewers of the broadcast begin to actively discuss Xiao Mo, noticing his school uniform and speculating that he might have cheated. However, someone soon clarifies the situation by reporting that he actually passed the exam with an outstanding score. A newspaper article with Xiao Mo's picture tells of his spectacular success, which caused a wide resonance. The director's office is bustling with work, but suddenly this very newspaper falls on his desk, catching his attention. At this moment, Xiao Mo bursts into the room, cheerfully calling out to the principal and clearly anticipating the conversation. He notices the surprise on the man's face and clarifies if he was indeed being sought for some kind of case. The principal, looking at him, starts to speak, but doesn't seem to know where to start. The principal looks at Xiao Mo sternly and rebukes him for being too intemperate. He then holds out some sort of document to him, offering to look at it himself. Xiao Mo reads and realizes that his interview has caused a huge resonance in Linhai City. Somewhere in the business district, high-rise buildings reflect the sunlight, emphasizing the importance of what's going on. In the office, employees are discussing the sensational news, interestedly exchanging opinions. The news of a possible candidate with a perfect score in the exam is being discussed in the newsroom. One journalist is stunned by the leaked information, because access to the results is strictly limited. Her colleague reassures her, assuring her that the truth will be revealed a few days after the official announcement. Elsewhere, a woman in a business suit ponders whether this candidate could be Xiao Mo. Meanwhile, Xiao Shi informs Xiao Mo that her mother is not home and they are alone. Xiao Mo looks at Xiao Shi, feeling slightly embarrassed, but deciding that it has to happen sooner or later. He cautiously approaches, asking Xiao Shi if he can start, to which she agrees with a slight blush. Later, they sit together and Xiao Mo informs them that the entrance exam results are finally available. He picks up his phone and opens the results page, his fingers trembling slightly with excitement. Xiao Shi presses her hands to her face as she watches him, and in her thoughts, she cheers up. She's confident that he's done well. Xiao Mo looks at the phone screen, his face lights up with a joyful smile, and he is amazed at what he sees. At this time, Xiao Shi enters the room and looks at the seated man, questioning whether the morning news is true. She notices her mother and exclaims with relief that she has come home. The woman turns around and when she sees Xiao Mo, she says his name with a smile, surprised at his appearance. Xiao Mo greets her by cheerfully raising his hand and apologizes for disturbing her again. Xiao Shi smilingly reminds her mother that today is the day to check the exam results. The woman looks at Xiao Mo carefully and guesses that he has something important to say. He announces his news without hiding his excitement, holding the phone in his hand. Excited, he shows the results screen and cheerfully declares that he has succeeded. But noticing the woman's calm reaction, Xiao Mo is a little embarrassed and surprised by her lack of emotion. The woman looks at Xiao Mo carefully and is convinced that her hunch was correct. She reports that the morning paper had already written about him, suspecting he had maxed out. Xiao Mo is surprised that the news is ahead of him again and sighed, realizing the situation. Irritated, he mentally accuses the newspaper of constant provocation and promises revenge. Xiao Shi, a little embarrassed, brings up an important topic and mentions studying abroad. The woman looks at Xiao Shi and ponders what to say now after all this. Xiao Shi is delighted to hear that she is to be kept in the country and reacts enthusiastically. The woman admits that a perfect score on the exam is indeed impressive, but it's not enough. She emphasizes that what matters to her is not the numbers, but the inner strength of the person. The main thing that truly fulfills her is determination and the ability to follow through on her words. The woman with a serious expression says that Xiao Mo should take care of Xiao Shi now. Xiao Mo thanks her with a smile and confidently promises that she will definitely fulfill this request. The woman looks at them with a warm smile and jokes that he might have to be called something else in a few years. Xiao Mo and Xiao Shi happily clap their hands, hug and exclaim with delight that they have succeeded. Xiao Shi, glowing with happiness, hugs him even tighter and simply says that it's wonderful. The woman sitting on the couch seriously says that Xiao Mo should promise her one more thing. With a slight chuckle, She adds that she doesn't want to become a grandmother before he graduates from college. Her gaze becomes stern, and she emphasizes that this is completely unacceptable. Xiao Mo and Xiao Shi are dumbfounded by such words and blushing, exclaim why she is even talking about this. The scene changes to a calm blue sky with tree crowns, as if ending this conversation. The woman sitting on the couch remarks with a smile that everyone here is still very young. Then her tone becomes more serious, and she firmly states that she doesn't want to become a grandmother before Xiao Mo graduates from college. Xiao Shi snuggles up to her in embarrassment and asks why she would even say such things. Xiao Mo, raising his hand, confidently promises that this will not happen and asks not to worry. The woman, smiling, replies that she believes him, for if he could get a perfect score on the exam, he can handle this promise as well. Xiao Shi happily hugs the woman and calls her mom, expressing sincere affection. Xiao Mo looks thoughtfully in front of him, pondering that the promise he made was not necessarily more difficult than the exam. Suddenly his phone starts ringing. The screen shows an incoming call from his mother. He picks up the phone and, a little warily, asks what's wrong. The woman on the other end of the line reports that professors from Kiowan University called her and said something that made her stammer. Xiao Mo confirms the teacher's words with a slight smile, telling her mother that they are right. He holds the phone near his ear and calmly adds that her son has become the best student of the entrance exams, so she should be proud of him. The woman on the other end of the line can barely hold back her tears, covering her mouth with her hand against the rush of emotion. She thinks back to the dark times and asks herself if her son still doesn't read books the same way. Through tears, she says into the phone that the past few months have been very hard for Xiao Mo. The woman tearfully admits that she didn't expect Xiao Mo to perform so outstandingly and is sure his father would be happy. Xiao Mo assures her with a slight smile that there is no need to worry, as he will make her proud of him many more times. 2 days pass and a sunny morning lights up the street in front of a beautiful house, creating an atmosphere of anticipation for something special. Xiao Mo, riding up on his bicycle, admiringly notes that his Xiao Shi looks especially charming today. Xiao Shi, slightly embarrassed, asks him why he calls her his, as if clarifying the true meaning of his words. Xiao Mo offers Xiao Shi to get on the bike with a smile, clearly preparing for a nice ride. Then, with a playful expression, he wonders why someone is getting on his bike if it's not his Xiao Shi. Xiao Shi looks at him with a slight smile, calling him a goon, but without a shadow of annoyance. They ride down the road together, the wind lightly playing with her dress, creating a sense of freedom. Tall trees spread around them, and the road leads ahead as if opening up new possibilities. Xiao Mo wistfully recalls how just a few months ago, he was mocked and not taken seriously. Now everything has changed and he feels confident in every step he takes as he continues to move forward. As he passes by a group of guys, he notices them discussing Xiao Shi, but one of them immediately stops the others, reminding them that they'd better stay out of it. Xiao Shi curiously asks if he has already chosen a college, and gets an unexpected answer. He has arranged with his mom to go to the same place as her. They walk forward on the sunlit road, feeling that their future is now filled with light and new possibilities. Xiao Mo and Xiao Shi are calmly walking when they suddenly notice a large banner with a sign about him. Xiao Shi points at him in surprise, noting that he seems to be the one in question. At this moment, someone loudly called out to Xiao Mo, causing him to tense up and turn around. The headmaster appears before him, radiant with joy and literally glistening with overflowing pride. Xiao Mo tries to calm him down, but the principal, full of enthusiasm, is clearly not going to let the situation go so easily. The teachers lined up in front of the entrance, cheerfully greeting Xiao Mo and expressing their admiration for him. He looks dumbfounded at what is happening, and Xiao Shi smiles, noting how honorable it is. The principal, smiling radiantly, announces that Xiao Mo will be inscribed in the Wall of Honor for his outstanding services. The teachers are stunned by the decision, as only 4 have been so honored in the 40 years of the school's existence. Someone in the shadows reminisced about those great names, among whom Xiao Mo would now find himself among. In the dark, the silhouettes remind us of people who started from scratch and changed the world: internet giants, politicians, scientists. Xiao Mo's name now resounds next to these legends as he walks down the street with Xiao Shi like an ordinary guy. Some are amazed. After all, he's only 18 years old, and he's already achieved such incredible success. Xiao Shi looks at him with slight surprise, realizing how outstanding he is. Can he really be ranked alongside these legendary figures anymore? A sunny day lights up the front of the school, creating an atmosphere of solemnity before an important talk. One of the teachers is concerned. Is the award about to be given too big? The principal, after thinking for a moment, turns to Mrs. Liu with a serious question, as if weighing his next words. He recalls why the school has a wall of honor. Is it simply to showcase accomplishments or to inspire future generations? His gaze is determined. The main goal is to motivate students to strive for true excellence. The director wistfully discusses the Wall of Honor, which for many years was a measure of social achievement. He wondered, if an outstanding disciple like Xiao Mo did not deserve a place on it, then who was worthy? The woman, listening intently, agrees that his words make sense and ponders the situation. The director concludes and with a solemn expression on his face prepares to announce his decision. With sudden determination, he loudly proclaims in front of the crowd, "The matter is settled, Xiao Mo will take his place on the Wall of Honor." The crowd of students stares in amazement and admiration at what is happening, unable to believe their eyes. Xiao Mo turns to the girl beside him with a smile and notices her genuine joy for him. He scratches the back of his head in embarrassment, saying that he's not really good enough to deserve such recognition. The director with a serious look urges him not to give up so quickly and to think his decision over well. When Xiao Mo heard that there was a cash reward for the best score in the exam, his eyes widened in surprise. The principal announces with a smile that the school pays a large sum of money to each alumnus on the honor board. Xiao Mo repeats the figure she heard in shock, unable to believe her ears. He asks indignantly if the university president actually agreed to such a decision. Overcome with surprise, he confidently states that the older students should be an example to the younger ones. The principal puts a hand on his shoulder approvingly, admiring his determination. The principal, smiling, informs Xiao Mo that there is another important event ahead and asks him to prepare. Xiao Mo surprisingly interjects what exactly he has to prepare, not understanding what he is talking about. The principal explains that a TV station will be arriving for an interview, and Xiao Mo must help his school. Xiao Mo, frowning, repeats what he heard, not expecting to be interviewed. The director adds that the interview will be broadcast live, as Xiao Mo is the first person to get a perfect score in the exam. A sign on the door indicates that they are in a conference room where apparently an important event will be held. Inside the room there is a filming going on, the principal proudly telling us that their school has once again achieved excellent results. Xiao Mo stands nearby, listening, but he is confused by the amount of bounty he thinks was given out for no reason. The reporter, smiling, asks him if he has any words of encouragement for the younger students. Xiao Mo was internally confused, thinking of what to say. After all, he has a school system that others don't have. Xiao Mo hesitates, realizing that his success has a lot to do with the opportunities provided by the system. He recalls how the system's mandatory assignments played a key role in his development. If it wasn't for the constant tension and pressure, he wouldn't have been able to perfect his skills. Finally, he realizes that it was these challenges that helped him reach his full potential. With a smile, he shares with his students his secret to success, to not be afraid to lose face and learn from mistakes. Xiao Mo admits that many people will laugh at him at first, but he too was once afraid. He discusses how fear of failure often affects people, causing them to retreat. When faced with difficult decisions, whether it's a confession of affection or an important exam, he prefers to go ahead. Those present, including the principal and the reporter, listened intently to his words, some with a smile. He admits his success is partly due to luck, but hopes his experience will serve as a good example. Xiao Mo confidently says that his secret is not to be afraid of embarrassment. He encourages students not to be afraid of losing face and to boldly step forward. Someone is inspired by his words and advises another to take a decisive step. People online admire his words and some even recognize him as their idol. Xiao Mo looks forward with determination, his thoughts set on new goals. Xiao Mo learns that his number of fans has exceeded 10,000 by activating the lottery system. A mysterious figure appears in front of him, informing him that he has a chance to win a prize. She asks if he wants to confirm participation in the raffle, awaiting his decision. Xiao Mo agrees without hesitation, confidently confirming her willingness. The mechanism is triggered, and the cubes of fate begin their rotation, foreshadowing an unexpected result. Xiao Mo receives an unexpected message about winning a new skill called Brainwave. He is surprised and doesn't understand what this ability is, but he senses that it is very powerful. The mysterious figure explains that scientists used to discover great things through such sudden insights. In the past, mathematicians could invent complex shapes using only simple tools. Now, students can easily understand what used to take years of research. Xiao Mo enthusiastically states that he wants to try using the new skill. The mysterious figure suggests he try it out for himself and get in touch later. Xiao Mo triggers the ability, and complex mathematical formulas appear in front of his eyes. Immersed in the process, he works intensively, recording calculations and analyzing data. Time flies by, and by evening the table is littered with scribbled sheets. Xiao Mo is stretching after a long day's work, with scribbled sheets scattered around him. A sharp knock on the door interrupts the silence. His mother is surprised to notice that it's 5 o'clock in the evening. Xiao Mo offers to open the door himself, but his mother replies that she'll handle it herself. A man in a business suit stands on the doorstep and politely asks if this is the right house. He introduces himself as the director of admissions at Anna University and says he has come to discuss admission. Xiao Mo's mother is surprised to see Anna University's representative and asks why he came in person. She immediately invites him in, and he replies with a smile that Xiao Mo deserves it. At that moment there is another knock on the door. Someone else has come in. Another man appears on the doorstep, introducing himself as a Tikoku University admissions officer. The two university representatives find themselves unhappy with each other's presence, and tension erupts between them. A representative of Tikoku University looks at the competitor with suspicion and accuses him of secretly recruiting students. The other spokesman, grinning, replies that he noticed him first and understands his intentions perfectly. A paper falls on the floor, and seeing it, he asks in amazement what it is. Turning to Xiao Mo's mother, one of the men begins to praise his university, listing its advantages. He states with conviction that this is the best choice one can make. One of the representatives reports with cold certainty that their university is prepared to offer a scholarship of 300,000. Wasting no time, he declares that there is no need to hesitate, you can sign the documents right now. Suddenly, however, the other spokesman raises his hand sharply, demanding that they stop. With a serious expression on his face, he announces that if Xiao Mo chooses Anna University, he will instantly be given a 5 million scholarship. These words cause a storm of emotion, and one of the men, shocked by what he has heard, is stunned and asks if it is really such a huge sum. One of the men exclaims in shock that the sum of 5 million is too much for an ordinary student. The other offers, if that is not enough, to increase the amount, making it clear that he is ready for more. Upon hearing this, the stunned man is stunned and asks if they are really willing to offer even more. Xiao Mo calmly informs that he is actually going to go to the same university as his girlfriend. The representative of Anna University with a smile promises that the girl will be able to choose any faculty, live with him in the dormitory, and education will be completely free. One of the men sarcastically asks if his opponent really has such credentials. Getting angry, the other reminds him that there are many talented students in the country and you can't pay everyone such sums. One seriously ponders, realizing that in front of him is probably one of the top 5 students in the world. Xiao Mo cheerfully tells her companion how the face of one of the NTU teachers turned green with annoyance. Outside the airplane porthole, the sky opens up and tall buildings remain below. The events are transported back 2 months. One of the men asks Xiao Mo with a smile what his decision was. Xiao Mo replies that his girlfriend has already chosen Anna University, so he should go there too. The interlocutor, looking slightly confused, clarifies if Xiao Mo wants to reconsider his decision. The other man squints, wondering if anyone wants to make conditions, and if he has that authority. The enraged opponent points his finger with burning eyes, unable to contain his indignation. One of the men, fists clenched, states with irritation that he didn't lose, he was just unlucky. He walks out the door, clearly disappointed, and the other man inside the room gives him a glance. The woman in the room opens her eyes wide, amazed that 2 prestigious universities are competing for her son at once. Xiao Mo says with a smile that he is happy to enter Anna University with his girlfriend. She fondly admits that she couldn't even believe they would be able to study in the same place. The girl says fondly that she always believed in him, even when his grades weren't the best. Xiao Mo, upon hearing these words, thinks about it and confesses that sometimes he doesn't feel like such a person himself. On the airplane, the steward brings him the lunch he ordered, and he happily notices that he is just as hungry. An appetizing dish appears on the tray in front of him, making his eyes fill with delight. Sitting next to him, the girl watches with a smile as he enthusiastically pounces on the food. The girl smiles with warm tenderness, and Xiao Mo, noticing this, asks what's wrong. She says with a light laugh that he hasn't changed at all, staying the same as before. A little farther away, a woman in elegant clothes smiles enigmatically, covering her mouth with her hand. Meanwhile, Xiao Mo and his companion continue to laugh, filling the airplane cabin with joy. The girl notices the stranger and shifts her gaze to her in surprise, as if recognizing something. The girl warily looks at the stranger and whispers to Xiao Mo that she looks at them as if she knows them. He is surprised and asks what she means, but in the meantime the girl keeps her gaze on them. Xiao Mo's companion animatedly says that the seatmate is incredibly beautiful, which makes her happy. She adds that the stranger didn't just stare, but smiled at him, hinting at something. Xiao Mo waves the idea away and laughs, suggesting that the one is probably just laughing at his face. The plane lands smoothly at Kyoto Airport and passengers prepare to disembark. Principal Lee adjusts his glasses and notices 3 students coming down the escalator. He laughs happily and greets them, noting that they have finally arrived. Xiao Mo says the principal's name in surprise, and the unfamiliar girl is already waiting for them next to the luggage. The guy and his companion are stunned to realize that this girl is also a student at Anna University. There is an atmosphere of excitement and pride in the university. 3 top students of Gyeongbei province arrived here at the same time, and it is a big event. The young man clarifies with a confident expression, "Are we really talking about the top 3 students?" Then he calls himself number 1, and the girl named Xiao, she is number 3 on the list. The interlocutor looks at him carefully and concludes that the second best student in the province is standing before her. She has heard of the talented students Xiao Mo and Xiao Shi, but this is the first time she sees them in person and seems to be delighted by this moment. However, her face immediately takes on a more tense expression. No one has been superior to her since she was a child, and apparently she has no intention of putting up with it now. The girl extends her hand with a friendly smile and calls Xiao Mo her classmate, clearly showing affection. She confidently steps forward, repeating her request to train her in the future, giving the impression of sincere interest. Then she calmly extended her hand once more and their fingers interlocked in a handshake, symbolizing the beginning of a new interaction. Xiao Mo replies politely but cautiously, offering to learn from each other, trying not to show suspicion. However, a worry grows inside him. Something about her behavior seems less than benevolent to him. The man in the strict suit shakes his hand, stating that introducing them to each other is no longer necessary. He then calmly notes that everything is going according to plan and suggests we head to the university to register. Opening the car door, he briefly and confidently tells the students to get into the car, leaving no room for questions. Xiao Mo opens his eyes wide, amazed to see such a luxurious transportation standing in front of him. Delighted, he is ecstatic to realize that conditions at Anna University were even better than he expected. Xiao Mo exclaims admiringly that he has an Audi A6 in front of him, hinting at its prestige. Nearby, they discuss student achievement. Every year the university admits outstanding students, but this is the first time someone has entered with a perfect score. The girl declares with a playful smile that she has had special luck, like a blessing from above. Xiao Mo waves his hand, modestly waving away the praise, but one can hear contentment in his voice. A man in a suit offers to help with the luggage and asks the students to go to the bus first. A man in a suit smiles and reminds me that there is a lot of paperwork to be done before we move in. Xiao Mo helps load the suitcases into the car, and reflects to himself that even the best student is not necessarily entitled to a personal driver. The man looks at him with a slight smirk, as if he knows something more, and clearly doesn't consider such an encounter a coincidence. Xiao Mo thinks about his status. After all, he is not just an excellent student, but a brilliant mathematician who has managed to solve 5 of the world's most difficult problems. His chaperone reasons that for such a distinguished man, admission to the university is still very modest. Xiao Mo sits in the car, watching the road as the driver steadily drives the vehicle forward. He turns around and notices that the other students are left behind, standing at the entrance of the building with their suitcases. On reflection, he notes how convenient it is to have a personal car, that way you don't have to work hard like the rest of the freshmen. The car rushes along the expressway, and a thought resounds in his mind. In front of him is Gyeongbei's second best disciple. Meanwhile, in the cabin of another car, a girl curiously asks her companion how many points she has scored this time. The girl with a confident smile calls her result, 736 points, as if waiting for the reaction of the interlocutor. Ta sighs and notes with regret that it's a real annoyance, but there's not much disappointment in her voice. The first girl only chuckles, shrugging her shoulders, because even if her score was higher, she would still be a rival to the boyfriend of the interviewer. Meanwhile, Xiao Mo flashes with embarrassment as he realizes that this girl is the very same opponent, only 4 points behind. He's stunned, wondering if he's gotten the situation right, since 2 people get mixed up in his head so easily. The driver glances at Xiao Mo and asks if he has decided what major he is going to choose. With a smile, he notes that students usually determine this ahead of time, but there are exceptions at Anna University. Xiao Mo calmly replies that he has already thought it over and is going to study in the foreign language department, just like Xiao Shi. The man abruptly changes his facial expression and exclaims in shock, not believing that a brilliant mathematician does not want to enter the major department. After calming down a bit, he admits that Xiao Mo has enough ability for any specialty, but advises him to still use his unique talent. Xiao Mo squints his eyes, clearly unimpressed by the argument. After all, he has a system that gives him an advantage. With a smile, he tosses the driver a defiant question. Is he really so eager for him to go to the math department because of his calculations? Then, with a dose of smugness, he adds that even if he gets in, there's hardly a teacher who can teach him. The man behind the wheel understands the logic behind these words. After all, Xiao Mo has solved world-class problems on his own, and there is no professor at the university who can replicate this. However, he doesn't give up and continues to reason, because even with innate genius, a solid knowledge base is important. Xiao Mo calmly reasoned, even if he enters the math department, what could ordinary students teach him? He chuckles, adding that if he chooses a different path, at least it won't put pressure on the others, allowing them to feel normal. In addition, he confidently states that even in the foreign language department, he can always turn to the math teachers if he has any questions. The driver suddenly laughed, recognizing that he was so worried for nothing, because Xiao Mo's arguments were indeed logical. Finally, he concludes that in any case the student will be able to apply his talent, because the ability to stand out is important in any field. The car brakes smoothly, the wheels freeze on the pavement, and the ride finally comes to an end. Inside the car, the driver informs the passengers with a slight smile that they have arrived at their destination. Xiao Mo walks out first, his gaze immediately settling on the majestic university buildings towering against the bright sky. The campus impresses with its architecture. Graceful bridges, manicured walkways and modern buildings create an atmosphere of coziness and grandeur. One of the students remarks with admiration that the university grounds are really beautiful, clearly amazed at its scope. The girl admiringly looks around at her surroundings and wonders if this is really the campus of Anna University. A man in a suit with a slight smile advises the students to head to the dormitory first while he handles their registration. Xiao Shi suggests that the others check in first, and then get together and go out for dinner. Xiao Mo agrees with a smile, his mood clearly lifted and he is looking forward to what comes next. Looking at the majestic buildings, he ponders, is the long-awaited student life about to begin? Xiao Mo walks up the stairs with the other students, holding a suitcase in his hand and looking around. In front of him is a door with the number 403, this is where he is to live in the near future. He calmly enters the room, looking around and noticing that there are already a few students inside. As soon as he crosses the threshold, one of the neighbors greets him with a friendly hello, catching his attention. A young man with a friendly smile introduces himself as Zhang Xiaochuan, raising 2 fingers in a casual gesture. The guy greets his new neighbor with a friendly smile and introduces himself as Wang Fei, clearly excited to meet him. Another student with a slight smile also says the words of greeting, sitting on the bed and watching the entrant. He rises and explains that Xiao Mo was the last person they were expecting, now their room is in full swing. With a slight smile, Xiao Mo raises his hand in a welcoming gesture and introduces himself to the others, confidently stating his name. One of his neighbors reaches out to shake his hand and the others greet him, creating a warm and friendly atmosphere. One of the students introduces himself as Zhao Tian with a slight smile and mentions that he is from Imperial City. He then reveals that he and his roommates had already discussed the distribution of roles in the room, pointing to Zhang Xiaochuan and Wang Fei. Someone suggests a simple option, the oldest among them should be in charge. However, Wang Fei squints with a sly expression and remarks that this method is too trivial, it is worth coming up with something more interesting. Zhang Xiaochuan suddenly proposes an original idea of ranking everyone according to their scores on the entrance exam. Zhang Xiaochuan shouts out defiantly not to procrastinate and asks if there is anyone among them who is afraid of a fair competition. Wang Fei backs it up with excitement, setting up a rivalry, and it seems that no one wants to give in. But Xiao Mo calmly says that in terms of academic performance, they will all be at the bottom of the list. Wang Fei smugly reports that he scored 707 on the entrance exam and doesn't believe that anyone has a higher score. Zhang Xiaochuan laughs happily and then folds his fingers with a mischievous look, apologizing, because it seems that Wang Fei had J. Zhang Xiaochuan reports with a satisfied smile that he has scored 708 points, just one more than Wang Fei, and asks if that makes him angry. Wang Fei freezes, his face expressing shock and disbelief, as if he had in no way expected this outcome. Zhang Xiaochuan chuckles, while Wang Fei sighs gloomily, complaining about his failure as if a thundercloud was looming over his head. However, suddenly, Zhao Tian takes the floor with a nonchalant look, and everyone's gazes settle on him. He calmly raises his hand and announces that his score in the exam was 716, instantly changing the balance of power. Zhang Xiaochuan repeats the number 716 in amazement and suggests that this is probably the highest score among them. Wang Fei admiringly exclaimed that such a score was unbelievable, clearly amazed at Zhao Tian's level. Xiao Mo observes their violent reactions and thinks that they are over-dramatizing this competition. Zhang Xiaochuan chuckles and jokingly suggests that Wang Fei relax and accept his role as the eldest among them. But Wang Fei protests, unwilling to recognize himself as fourth on the list, and immediately questions Xiao Mo about his results. Xiao Mo turns around and points at himself, slightly surprised, to clarify if it is really him they are asking. With a careless smile, he remarks that it doesn't matter to him who is considered in charge. However, his words cause a stir. The neighbors exclaim, demanding the real result of the exam. He calmly replies that he scored 750 points, saying it as if it was no big deal. Seeing their doubts, Xiao Mo shrugs and offers to check the information online if they don't believe him. Zhang Xiaochuan looks at Xiao Mo with disbelief and cannot believe that this is true. Zhao Tian calmly suggests just checking the information on the internet since they have doubts. All the students huddle together in front of the screen, their faces full of tense anticipation. After a moment, they shriek in exasperation. The screen does indeed display a perfect score of 750. Zhao Tian sighs shockedly, wondering who had even gathered in their room, and suggests that they should arrange everyone simply by age. Xiao Mo folded his arms on his chest, asking his neighbors with a slight smile if they now believe in his result. Suddenly the phone in his hand begins to vibrate, and he is surprised to notice that someone is waiting for him downstairs. He looks out the window and sees a raised hand, then replies that he'll be right down. The neighbors immediately run up to him, burning with curiosity, and ask who exactly is calling him. When they finally look down, Xiaoxi is in front of them, and someone exclaims admiringly how beautiful she is. Zhang Xiaochuan exclaimed in utter delight that it was indeed true, his eyes shining with admiration. The neighbors look at each other and agree that Xiaoxi clearly has beauty on the level of a high school queen. Wang Fei abruptly turns to Xiao Mo and, squinting suspiciously, demands an explanation of his relationship with her. Xiao Mo only laughs and, ignoring their reactions, suggests that they all go to dinner and get to know each other better. Zhao Tian looks at him in bewilderment and clarifies if he really just called her his girlfriend. Xiao Mo, with a wide smile, nonchalantly confirms that this is exactly the case, but his neighbors react completely differently. They look around in shock, their faces filled with wonder, as if they had just heard something incredible. Zhao Tian, trying to realize what is happening, decisively states that there can be no doubt now. Xiao Mo officially becomes their leader. Zhang Xiaochuan and Wang Fei immediately pick up on the idea, enthusiastically shouting out that he is now their boss forever. But Xiao Mo recoils, stunned by their unexpected reaction, and asks in bewilderment what is even happening to them. Zhang Xiaochuan and Wang Fei clung to Xiao Mo with burning eyes, demanding to reveal the secret of dating girls. On the way downstairs, the other dorm students also start insisting that their boss teach them how to get girls' attention. Xiao Mo, walking outside, notices Xiao Shi and another girl waiting for him, but first suggests they just have dinner. Wang Fei and Zhang Xiaochuan, upon seeing them, instantly froze, then rushed forward excitedly. Xiao Shi looks at them with a slight smile, while her companion crosses her arms on her chest, clearly serious. The girl crosses her arms with a serious look and announces that it's time to go because she's hungry. The company gathers into a circle, and Zhang Xiaochuan enthusiastically notices that another beauty has come along with Xiao Shi. Wang Fei squints thoughtfully upon hearing this and, slightly embarrassed, suggests that they might have a chance too. Zhang Xiaochuan, cheered up, confidently takes a step forward, clearly intending to seize the opportunity. He introduces himself to the girl with a charming smile, calling her name and exclaiming in admiration how beautiful she is. Zhang Xiaochuan confidently takes the first step, but his friends freeze in shock, as if premonishing something bad. Wang Fei, cheered up, also decides to introduce himself, but a slight uncertainty can already be heard in his voice. The girl in front of him looks up and gives a short greeting with a cold expression, showing no interest. She then shifts her gaze to Xiao Mo and irritably asks how much longer they have to wait. Zhang Xiaochuan and Wang Fei lower their heads, looking completely broken, their faces expressing utter despair. Zhao Tian sighs and remarks with a slight sneer that his friends are still too young for such attempts. Xiao Shi smiles and confirms his words, adding that she was clearly not someone who should have been pursued. Zhao Tian corrects his glasses and remarks with a sly smile that the problem is the target selection, because they started with the wrong person. He says with confidence that their focus should be on a real purpose, not a passing fad. At that moment, the other girl standing next to him calmly says that everything is already in place, as if knowing what he's talking about. Zhao Tian takes a step forward and formally introduces himself, mentioning that he is from Imperial City. The girl opposite smiles softly, her expression friendly, as if she understood everything from the beginning. Xiao Shi remarks with a slight chuckle that Xiao Mo's neighbors are indeed very interesting, hinting at their behavior. Xiao Mo, sensing the rising tension, embarrassedly suggests to put all talk aside and find a place for dinner first. Finally, the whole company gathers around a large table, surrounded by appetizing dishes, and the atmosphere becomes more relaxed. Xiao Mo squints unhappily, suspecting that his neighbors didn't choose a hot dish restaurant at all by chance. It becomes clear to him that they are up to all this for the girls, not for the love of food. One of them, flushed, carefully brings the chopsticks to her mouth, clearly feeling the heat from the hot broth. Xiaoxi calls Xiao Mo's name with a smile and holds out a piece of food to him, her gesture looking caring. He thinks for a moment, but then, humbled, agrees that such a dish is indeed delicious. Zhao Tian calmly informs that the students will be receiving military training at the beginning of the school year. Wang Fei tenses up, and Zhao Tian adds that the instructors are especially strict this time, and the training will not be easy. He holds the sticks in his hands and reasons that they need to be careful, for the strain could be serious. One of the girls nervously exclaims that she's afraid of military training, and her friend complains that she doesn't want to get a tan. Zhao Tian raises a finger with a slight smile and concludes that the most important thing in such a situation is good preparation. Zhao Tian, with a satisfied expression on his face, declares that the guys have plenty of military supplies to share. One of the girls thanks him with a cheerful smile, genuinely pleased with the help offered. She then turns to Xiao Shi and enthusiastically suggests adding each other on WeChat. However, Xiao Shi, remaining calm, confidently replies that there is no need for that. Xiao Mo, noticing her reaction, agrees with a slight chuckle, adding that he doesn't need it either. Wang Fei and Zhang Xiaochuan stare at Xiao Mo in amazement, not understanding why he is acting so calmly. Xiao Mo informs with a slight smile that they have nothing to worry about since they won't have to undergo military training. His words cause a violent reaction. Everyone around him is in shock, not believing that such a thing is even possible. Zhao Tian corrects his glasses and incredulously remarks that even the children of powerful people in Anna University are not given such indulgences. Xiao Mo smiles slyly and says with a slight hint that maybe it's all about their special status. Wang Fei asked perplexedly what their special status had to do with the abolition of military training. Zhang Xiaochuan thinks about it and suggests that maybe it's all because Xiao Mo got the maximum score on the entrance exam. One of the girls wonders if such results really happen, because even the best students rarely reach perfection. Another, with slight doubt, suggests that it is about a high score in one subject or some other exam. Zhao Tian, realizing the truth, clutches his head, realizing that in Xiao Mo's presence, he is destined to be only a minor character. Xiao Mo walks up the steps to the dormitory together with Zhao Tian while the surroundings are calm. Zhang Xiaochuan, sprawled on a chair, admiringly states that he can't believe how many beautiful girls are in their class. Wang Fei, covering his face with his hands and sighing dreamily, calls all the girls he saw goddesses. He notices that Enjuan is so attractive that all the guys will probably like her. He then rushes over to Xiao Mo with shining eyes and excitedly calls him boss, as if he was expecting wise advice from him. Wang Fei admits with burning eyes that he fell in love with Enjuan at first sight, and begs Xiao Mo to arrange for them to meet. Zhang Xiaochuan waves away, assuring that Wang Fei is just teasing the boss, and immediately demands that Enjuan be introduced to him first. Xiao Mo shrugs, reminding her that they haven't even met her for 24 hours, and wonders how he can even introduce someone to anyone. Zhao Tian suddenly suggests creating a general chat room for their dorm and the girls' dorm, excitedly showing his phone. Xiao Mo wistfully recalls that all universities have such groups and assumes that they will be set up tomorrow. Zhao Tian enthusiastically explains that he wants to create not just a general chat room, but a group for their dorm and sister-daughter-in-law's dorm. Xiao Mo, hearing this, instantly smiles and understands what the point here is, as if he realized the hidden meaning. Relaxing, he pulls out his phone and agrees to check with Xiao Shi to see if it's possible to create such a chat room. Zhang Xiaochuan and Wang Fei, stunned, froze for a moment, and then their faces lit up with delight. They watch with admiration as Xiao Mo dials the message, believing that their boss has not let them down again. Zhao Tian looks at his phone with a satisfied smile, happy that the group formation was a success. The screen shows an invitation to a new chat room called the College Problem Solving Squad. He checks the correspondence by reading the participants' posts, and the discussion seems to be well underway. The girl with short hair is also studying her phone, her face expressing interest as she browses the chat room. Zhao Tian, sitting under the night sky, reflects with a slight smirk that one of the girls seems to have a thing for him. Xiao Mo, lying in bed, sighs in relief, deciding that it's time to sleep before the big day. Things quiet down in the dorm room, and the other students, muttering something gratefully, settle down to rest as well. The next morning, the auditorium gradually fills up with students waiting for classes to begin. One of the girls walks confidently into the classroom, fixing her hair and drawing attention to herself. Some students, delighted by her appearance, watch with rapt attention, realizing that this is the moment they have been waiting for. The girl sits confidently at her desk, exuding charm, and her presence draws stares. Some students can't hide their excitement, dreamily stating that they have already mentally chosen her as their girlfriend. Xiao Mo, along with his friend, leisurely enters the classroom, looking completely at ease. He is immediately pointed to a vacant seat next to the girl, as if insinuating that he should sit there. However, it comes as a shock to some students as their goddess suddenly spoke to a strange guy. One of the students sternly states that the girl is already taken, referring to her as sister-in-law. Some clutch their heads in despair, unable to believe that their goddess is in love with another. One of them tearfully confesses that his heart is broken and he can never love again. However, another girl soon appears, attracting attention with her elegant appearance. Seeing her, students are instantly enthralled, happy that spring is back again. Some students immediately start offering the girl to sit next to them, calling her to their desks. Xiao Mo looks at her, and the girl sitting next to her is clearly puzzled by her appearance. The girl, disregarding the general excitement, greets Xiao Mo, addressing him by his first name. The other students in the class are shocked and resentful after realizing that all the girls are only surrounding him. Some exclaim with irritation that it is unfair, for he is taking them all for himself. One of the students watches in bewilderment and can't believe his eyes. The other guy cheerfully greets the newcomer, and the newcomer calmly responds to the greeting. Some students in the class observe the situation, while one of them smugly reflects on his superiority. The girl, smiling slightly, covers her mouth with her hand, watching the reactions of those around her. Xiao Mo is perplexed as to why she chose to sit next to him despite the empty seats. The girl asks with a slight smile why she can't sit next to him. Xiao Mo looks worried and notices that the people around him are looking at him as if they want to destroy him. The girl laughs merrily, completely oblivious to the tense atmosphere around her. Enron suddenly leans closer, causing Xiao Mo to flinch and someone nearby to accidentally bump. She puts a finger up and assures me she's not kidding, she just wants to ask a question. Xiao Mo looks frustrated, not understanding why he was the one who ended up losing. He's slightly confused, but still asks what exactly the girl wants to know from him. Enron smiles and asks him to help her avoid military training since he can. She cleverly offers a deal: if he helps, she won't sit next to him anymore. Xiao Mo clearly didn't expect such a turn, and the girl laughs, satisfied with her clever ploy. Xiao Mo nonchalantly advises Enron to go and talk to Director Li herself. The girl smiles slyly and declares that she doesn't care, the deal is already done. The other girl looks warily at Enron, perplexed as to what she's up to. Enron waved cheerfully as she said goodbye to Xiao Mo, clearly happy with the situation. Xiao Mo sighs heavily as he watches Enron leave, leaving behind a slight tension. Enron calmly walks past the desks and sits down in his seat, catching the attention of those around him. One of the students excitedly exclaims that his broken heart has been healed, for he still has a chance. The other exhales in relief, recognizing that he was beginning to think as if the boss had gotten a hold of all the girls. At that moment, a woman in high heels enters the auditorium, treading the floor with confidence. She stands in front of the class, adjusts her glasses slightly, and introduces herself to the students, greeting them. One student raves about the fact that Anna University has many beautiful girls, including faculty members. The teacher, introducing herself as Lu Feng, welcomes the students and wishes them a successful learning experience. She explains that today is meant for getting to know classmates and adjusting to the university environment. Pointing to one of the students, she suggests that he be the first to introduce himself to the class. The guy with a smug smile thinks that he chose the Faculty of Foreign Languages not only because of his family, but also for the sake of easy dating with girls. A guy named Su Hongjiao stands up and introduces himself with a smug smile, bragging about his high ranking in the entrance exam. One of the students watching him is puzzled as to why he is trying so hard to impress. Su Hongjiao continues, mentioning his passion for music and hinting that he should be chosen as a class representative. Some classmates look dejected, as if realizing that they can't compare to such a competitor. The next student hesitantly rises and with slight embarrassment begins his introduction in front of the class. Su Hongjiao starts his performance with a serious look, but his attention is distracted by two female students sitting nearby. Sensing that someone has doubted his merit, he irritably declares that it's all envy. Then, changing from anger to cold self-assurance, he says with conviction that it's not a problem. His thoughts are centered on the girl standing in front of the class, and he decides that she is his main target. Enron, after introducing himself to the class with a slight smile, welcomes everyone and offers to continue introductions. One of the students, after hearing the short introduction, is surprised to interject, thinking it is not enough. Another, noticing one of the girls, is stunned to realize that she looks unusual. The teacher reports with a smile that Enron came second in the province in the entrance exams. Some of the students are shocked, not believing that the very person who used to hide his face is in front of him. Su Hongjiao flashes an irritated glance and wryly remarks that some people, after only ranking 4th, are acting too smug. Xiaoxi introduces herself to the class with a slight smile, letting them know that she is happy to meet everyone. The teacher reports that Xiaoxi ranked 3rd in the Zhongbei provincial entrance examination. One of the students whispers stunned that he can't believe her beauty and intelligence. Xiao Mo calmly stands up and calls his name, feeling insanely lucky. After looking around the audience, he excitedly declares that student life promises to be incredible. The teacher announces that Xiao Mo ranked 1st in Zhongbei province and got a perfect score in the entrance exam. Standing in front of the class, she suddenly suggests that he be appointed president of the foreign language group. The students in the audience are stunned by this sentence and look around in confusion, not believing their ears. One of his classmates, indignant, exclaims why Xiao Mo chose this department rather than more challenging majors. Another outraged figure angrily demands an explanation as to why he was among the foreign language students. At the same time, while events were unfolding in the auditorium, another conversation was taking place outside. One of the men asks in surprise if it is true that the student who solved the world's problems chose a foreign language department. Another person confirms by saying that this student does have a unique character and he respects his choice. The third interlocutor chuckles and sarcastically asks if anyone believes that a high school student can solve the BYD speculation problem. The scene ends with a shot of a university building surrounded by lush greenery against a clear sky.